Now for the piece de resistance, or whatever. I don't know how long it's been, this video. Whenever I look back, I kind of notice I'm a slow talker, so it's probably been like 5 hours. I'm so sorry you have to watch a 5-hour video, unless you didn't watch, in which case you're super smart. Resident Evil. Now, I thought about initiating a sort of drinking game whenever I state the full name of Resident Evil, digital or physical. You take a drink, because there's a lot of them. So yeah, I guess do that if you want, if you're still watching, and if you're over the age. If you're not over the age in your country to drink, don't do it. You probably shouldn't be watching this. I swear a lot. I say but. So, calling back to Vodka Haha in his video, he did his whole horror collection, but because I don't have a lot of Japanese horror movies, I don't even really have a lot of horror movies. I can't do that. I definitely don't have any horror manga, but at the very least, I can do this. I have Resident Evil Vendetta, which isn't that horror. They did say they wanted to appeal to the Resident Evil game fans, but they made it more like Resident Evil 5 and 6 than Resident Evil 1 and 2, so still better than the movies, It's not like the movies are bad. They're good action movies, but, Resident Evil, they are not. But speaking of action movies, I do have a digital copy of, I think, the second to last Resident Evil movie. Funny story about that. I was on Reddit, and someone was like, hey, I'll give a free copy of this Resident Evil movie to anyone who can answer my question. What member of Stars am I thinking of? And out of a joke, mostly because I watched the Super Best Friends, I was like, Brad Chicken Shit Vickers, and he was like, yeah, here's your code for the Resident Evil movie. So now I have a digital copy of that. I don't even remember what number it is, how many there are. I just know I have a copy of that movie. So yeah, those are my two Japanese horror movies. I have this 3-pack of a Japanese ninja movie, but I think they're kind of porny, so I probably shouldn't show them. Yeah. So let's start in order with the first Resident Evil. Let me just get them out, because they're not all stacked in the right order. So, Resident Evil Director's Cut DualShock. You can see that's DualShock because of that. Yeah, this was like $10 maybe? I don't remember. I got it at a card shop. But, yeah. First Resident Evil, well, not the very, very first Resident Evil. It's DualShock, Director's Cut. It has new music, I think? I'm not entirely sure. I know people hate one of these versions. I'm not sure which one they do hate. But this is the one I have. Resident Evil Director's Cut DualShock. I also have Resident Evil Director's Cut on PS3, a PS1 classic game on PS3, so that's, if you're playing the drinking game, that's 2. That's, yeah, so, do I have any other copies? I don't think so. I do want to get a Sega Saturn version, though, so, there's that. But yeah. So, moving on, I have, I'm not gonna do release, I'm gonna do game order, so in that case, sticking with Resident Evil 1, that also means Resident Evil Remake, which, this is kind of weird. Maybe I should have actually just started with 0, but anyways. Resident Evil Origins Collection, so, if you are drinking, just count this as 1, because I know that's 2 games, but that's kind of, I don't even know how to fucking count it, but yeah, this technically means I have a physical copy of Resident Evil Remake on PS4. But, however, I do have a digital copy on PS3, so Resident Evil Remake HD on Did I say PS3? PS4. I'm sorry. But I also have it on PC. So that's 3 copies of Resident Evil Remake and 5 copies of Resident Evil 1 altogether. So yeah, that's actually the PC version is the first one I bought, because at the time it was like, yeah, I got this new PC, that's kind of cool, Resident Evil Remake, I can play that, and that's the one I Let's Played. I haven't gotten through this version yet, so mostly because Resident Evil 1, I really like the mansion part. Once we leave the mansion, not even the I do like the dorm area, but once we leave the mansion and go to the lab, that's where I drop off interest, honestly. So yeah. I guess since we're here, we'll also talk about Resident Evil 0. So, here we are. My physical copy of Resident Evil 0 on PS4. I also have it on PC, so that's 2. I have it on PS4, so that's 3. And I actually bought it on GameCube right before it came out. So that's 4, count them, 4 copies of Resident Evil 0. Speaking of GameCube, I do need to get a GameCube version of Remake as well as 4, but we'll get to 4 in a moment. Yeah. I think that's all the copies. I did think I had a PS3 copy of Remake, but no, just PS4. So yeah. Resident Evil 2. I actually don't have a physical copy of Resident Evil 2. I do have a digital copy on PS3 that I just bought. But, yeah, I need to get a copy of Resident Evil 2 on PS2 and definitely need to get it on N64. The N64 one is the most... They're both pretty expensive, but N64 is definitely more expensive. And I don't really care about having a GameCube copy, because GameCube copy of Resident Evil 2 and 3 didn't really do anything. Especially after they went to the trouble of remaking 1, like... I know it's a lot of time and money, but then, like, why bother? Other than, like, just having people, you know, catch up. Like, hey, we made 1, maybe you want to continue the story before 4 comes out. But, like, it's kind of weird. I know the Dreamcast, the GameCube version of RE3 is, popular among speedrunners for whatever reason. They might have improved loading times, I'm not sure. But, I'm rambling again. I definitely don't care about the Dreamcast versions of any of these games except for, Code Veronica, which we'll get to. But yeah. 0. Down here, you can't see down here, but down here, I don't have a case for it, unfortunately, but I do have a copy of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which was my favorite version, god damn it, my favorite Resident Evil until I played Remake, and then I realized how good Remake is, and now I own 5 copies of Remake. But I only own 1 copy of this, and while I don't have the actual case, I'm not fretting it too much, although I did see the Russian version of Resident Evil 3. I don't know if it's on PC or, PlayStation 1, but I know the cover is different because it has this badass art of Nemesis on it. So, well, I mean, Resident Evil 3 normally has a picture of Nemesis on it, but the Russian version is way better. So I do want to try to get that. And it's not that expensive either, so as long as eBay still has copies of it. I do consider if I have to get multiple copies of every Resident Evil game so that whenever I do these videos, I get people alcohol poisoning. Getting a Dreamcast version. But that's mostly because I want a Dreamcast version of a Resident Evil game so I can see, like, the VMU life meter. But that's what I got Code Veronica for, which actually is next. So, once again, I don't have a case for it, because I bought this online from GameStop, and half of their retro games don't have cases. So they just put it in these yellow slips. But Code Veronica, and I know that's really hard to see because it's just the disc. I can zoom in a little, but yeah, I have Code Veronica. This is disc 2. I have no idea what disc 1 is, but if I had to guess, I think it's in the Dreamcast right now. So yeah. Funnily enough, I have, if you count Code Veronica and Code Veronica X, I have 3 copies. You know, if you're keeping track and drinking, this original Dreamcast version, Code Veronica X on PS3, which I think is a remake, an HD remake, and then Code Veronica X on PS4, which is a PS2 conversion. So, I think the HD remakes of Code Veronica X and Resident Evil 4 were actually remakes. They were slightly different, because I know, like, speedrunners have problems with them, while games on the PS2 and PS4 games are actually emulated. So, but yeah, I have 3 copies of Code Veronica. I threw that thing behind me, and I kinda need it, because that's kinda where I keep these. That's Code Veronica. What's next? Technically, what's next is Resident Evil Outbreak. Now, that will stay. I can get Resident Evil, let's see, because these logos are fucking all over the place. In fact, it's times like this I do wish I had a copy of Resident Evil 2 just to see it. But let's see. That's Resident Evil 1. That's that logo. That's Resident Evil Zero's logo. I'm gonna have to turn to the side so you can see it. And then the Origin Collection uses this weird new logo, which might be RE4. Where's my copy of RE4? Yeah, that's straight up the RE4 logo for Resident Evil. Well, the logo design. But, I bring this up because Outbreak uses the logo design. I guess you call it the font. The, Resident Evil font from the movies, which is really odd. And actually, I think, does Outbreak File 2 have an ad? Yeah, there are ads in the instruction booklet for the movies. But I guess shouldn't be surprising, even if it was like RE4, you know. But, yeah, Outbreak. Outbreak is really cool. I always had this impression that all the Resident Evil spin-off games were crap. But after playing, Dead Aim, which I don't own, but I played it, which is a light gun game, that was pretty cool, considering PS2 didn't have RE4 at the time. And of what I played of Outbreak, that's also pretty fucking cool, honestly. But yeah, Outbreak, it's kind of a pseudo-MMO, because you can play it in single player, but it's really hard. It's actually built around online, which you can see the online logo right there. You pick one of 8 characters, 7 or 8 characters, and you go through events of, it says on there on the box, the events of Resident Evil 1 through 3. Not in the same vein of, Reorc, where you're actually just redoing the events just as the bad guys, but you're going through the motions, the history. Yeah. Funnily enough, RE7 kind of validates these games, because, you know, unless stated otherwise, these spin-off games aren't canon. But, much like how, which one did it? I think RE4 validated the first Survivor game very briefly, so it made that at least semi-canon. Resident Evil 7, there's a mention of one of the characters in here, Alyssa, I think. And that basically validates these games, at least partly. And I think that's cool, because these games are pretty cool. They're just really hard. But, that's Outbreak. I actually have Outbreak File 2, which apparently Outbreak was supposed to be this one massive game, but because of time and budget, they had to cut a lot of the stories. It's like a bunch of different stories, and that's how it's broken up. It's not a continuous linear game like Resident Evil 1. So yeah, they were able to make all the stories into File 2, which, just like the name kind of suggests, it's more of an expansion than an actual sequel. And it didn't do as well. It did so not as well that the planned Outbreak File 3 didn't get made, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. And I know this is one of the Resident Evils that people were up there with 2 and maybe 3, and maybe even quite honestly, the only Resident Evils I see people chomping at the bits for like an actual remake or at least some sort of HD re-release is Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Outbreak. And that's nice. It's nice that this weird spin-off game that's only semi-canon is validated by the fan base, basically. I couldn't think of any words, so I had to use validate. I will play it one day. I wish it had local co-op as well. That way I could at least drag a friend to suffer with me. But two, you know, I wish I could figure out a way to get the emulator network thing to work. Cause then, you know, maybe through YouTube or Reddit, I could, you know, find a friend and, you know, play this together. I don't know. But worst comes to worst, I'll just tough it out. And by tough it out, I mean I'll play it on easy, because this game is hard in single player. Oh man. It emulates well though, so, you know, if you don't want to go out and search for it, but you have a good computer. It's actually one of the few PS2 games that emulates really well. So yeah. What's next? 4, I do believe. So let's get that. Am I missing anything? No. 4. Oh, God. Y'all drunk yet? Have you been drinking the game? Because that's like 10 Resident Evils. Oh, man. Resident Evil 4. Hello. I have a few copies of these, and my God, while I do think this game is a bit overrated, I have this penchant to get more copies. And it is a good game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It is a very good game. I don't know. It's not even on my, it's not my top 3. Maybe my top 5, but it's not my top 3 Resident Evils. But, yeah, this is the PS4 copy, so that's one. I'm gonna help you count, because there's a few. I have it on PS3. I meant to say PC, but I do have it on PS3. I have it digitally on PC. And that's it, actually. There's not actually a lot. But yeah, Resident Evil 4. I did actually play, there's 2 PC versions. I did actually play the original PC version, which was published by Ubisoft. And that's actually the first time I've played and beaten Resident Evil. And I'm not alone. I've heard at least one other person say that. I don't remember who. I think it was Liam of the X Super Best Friends. But, yeah. Yeah, it's good. I gotta get the GameCube and the PS2 version, because there's steelbook versions of those games, and the steelbook versions are different per console. So like the GameCube version's red, and it has like an Ada Wong laser steel, and the PS2 version is blue, and it has Leon laser steel. I also want to get the Wii version, because I hear that's like the best version, which is very weird, but I'm not gonna complain. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, gnarly. Up next is Resident Evil 5, and I think this, it doesn't say, but this is basically the gold edition, because it has all the DLC. I don't know. Sometimes I struggle to think, do I like 5 more than 6, or do I like 6 more than 5? Quite honestly, it doesn't matter, because they're both bad. That's like a lot of dust, because I only played this once, but, yeah. Actually, my first time playing this was on the 360, which I don't have anymore, so that doesn't count if you're drinking. But I do have it on PC. So, yeah. I don't think I have any other copies. I think I just have those 2 copies, so you're safe here. PC and this. By that. Yeah, it's Resident Evil 5. There's nothing special about it. Yeah. 17 gigs. Christ. Also, I noticed the remote play. If I ever get an actual Vita instead of just this Vita TV, I might actually play a lot of these. But, yeah. God, that dust left a streak. Almost done. I'm sorry. I have a lot of Resident Evil games. If you haven't noticed by now, I didn't say it, but Resident Evil is my favorite. Not just my favorite horror game, one of my favorite games ever. So, Resident Evil 6 on the Xbox One. The first time I played Resident Evil 6 was also on the Xbox 360. I actually pre-ordered it. I'm not gonna go get it, but I pre-ordered it from the Capcom store because they sent me a umbrella, which to me is a $20 joke. And a $20 joke that I think is worth it. I actually got use out of it. You know, it rains in real life, so it rains in real life, and sometimes you have to go outside, so I had the umbrella and I used it. But yeah. Again, I have 2 copies of this game. This and the one on PC, so that's 2. I don't have any other copies, because I got rid of my 360 copy. And quite honestly, 5 and 6, I don't really have any plans of getting any other extra copies, unlike every other. Like, I can literally get extra copies of any other Resident Evil, but like, unless 5 and 6 comes to the Switch, I'm not getting a new copy anytime soon, so, you know, there's that. Unless, like, I get a free version for, digital, in which case, Okay, oh god, I just threw it on the ground. We're not done. Before we get to the last one, which is the newest one, quickly, I have Resident Evil 3D The Mercenaries on 3DS. If you're a fan of Mercenaries mode, this is pretty fun, but unfortunately that's all it is. That looks like RE5 art. And quite honestly, take out the textures. Okay, I take that back, because there's a fucking picture of Jill in the background. I don't know if that's really seeable, but god, she looks god-awful there. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't fans of her designs recently, what with her big butt and her voluptuous lips, but, yeah. This is a 3DS exclusive game, so obviously I only have this 1 copy. I do hope, you know, they at least, bring it back. Switch, PC, HD, you know, whatever. Cause it is fun. It is a fun little game. But yeah. That being said, what other Resident Evils do I have before we get to the obvious one? I have Outbreak Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles on PS3, which are games I'm actually excited to get to, especially now since I have, you know, Move controllers. Well, I only need the one, but I have everything set up to play that in motion, so I don't have to use the sticks. What else do I have? I have Revelations 1 on PC, and I did have it on 3DS, but again, I got rid of it. I do need to get 2 more copies. I need to get at least a PS4 or Xbox One version. I'm definitely going to get it on PS4. And then the Switch version I definitely want. And that's probably the one I'll Let's Play, because I haven't Let's Played that yet. And I kind of still want a Wii U version, quite honestly, just so I can use the gamepad. Speaking of Revelations, I have Revelations 2 on... I only have 1 copy of Revelations 1, but I have Revelations 2 on PC. Again, I don't have a secondary copy of that. I probably should get one on PS4, but I'm not. Actually, I want to get one on Vita. That's the one I want. And then, obviously, it's on the Switch as well, so I need to get one on the Switch. Let's see. What else do I have? I have Operation Raccoon City Reorg. I think I have 2 copies of that, so that's 4 more shots if you're still drinking, if you're still alive. 1 on PC and 1 on PS3, I do believe. Which sucks, because I did get that day 1 on 360, and 360 had an exclusive mode that involved Nemesis, involved a team fighting to control Nemesis. Which, A, makes that the best version to me, because it's the version with more content. C, that mode was really fun. That game was really fun. So the fact that the Nemesis mode isn't on anything else just upsets me. And finally, I have, god damn it. I forgot the name of it. Umbrella Corps. I have Resident Evil Umbrella Corps. 2 copies. PS4 and PC. I actually bought on PC first, and then, like, I think it was cheap. I have a Japanese version of Umbrella Corps, and it was cheap. I don't think anyone plays that anymore, so it's unfortunate. It's even more unfortunate it doesn't really have a very good story. There's a story mode. It's nothing. And the fact that that game is semi-canon is fucking ridiculous. But, yeah. That's all my Resident Evils until 7, which I have right here. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold Edition. Now, believe it or not, I have 2 copies. I have one digitally. That's actually the first one I bought because, Let's Plays. I wanted to play as soon as possible, so... Yeah, I have Resident Evil 7 Biohazard on PS4 digitally, and then Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold Edition here. I haven't played the VR mode yet, but I do have VR, so I will get to that. I do actually want to get an Xbox One version in Japanese. Mostly because I want to see it in... Well, it's mostly the Japanese thing, not the Xbox One thing, because I want to see how they censored it. And I figured I'd get it on Xbox One just for shits and giggles, so... Even this one, 5 and 6 can go fuck off. 7, I still need to get another copy. You know what? If they somehow manage to port it to the Switch, I'll buy it. I'll buy it in a heartbeat. But yeah, that's it. It's been, God, how long has it been? I need to check. Wow, it's been an hour. So, like... Yeah, thanks for watching. I don't know how I'm gonna break this shit up, but, oh, okay. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked the games and saw some games you liked or might want to come get. I don't know, maybe you have some. Maybe you have a copy of The Fear. Jesus. Oh, man. Yeah, that's it. I'm done. We can look at Maximum Carnage, I guess.